Okay, so we're going to finish up those last 4 problems. We're going to evaluate the integral from a to ln of 2, 3 e to the 2x dx. So that would be 3 times e to the 2x over 2 from, oh, that's 0, not a, 0 to ln of 2. So that's 3 times e to the 2 ln of 2 over 2 minus 3 e to the 0, 2 times 0 over 2. Now, I can evaluate this. As is, but I can use my rules about logarithms, which say if I have a number in front, I can put it in the exponent. So this would be 3 e to the ln of 2 squared over 2 minus 3 e to the 0 over 2. Now, the e and the ln cancel each other out. So that's 3 times 4 over 2 minus 3 times 1 over 2. So that's going to give me 6 minus 3/2, which 6 is 12/2. 12/2 minus 3/2 is 9/2. Okay. All right, example. Find the derivative by A, evaluating the integral, and differentiating the result, and then by B, by differentiating the integral directly. Okay. And we have y equals sine x. So A, we're going to go from pi over 2 to the square root of 2 of sine t dt. So we do the antiderivative of sine t, and that's going to be negative cosine t from pi over 2 to the square root of 2, x, square root of x. Okay, so that's going to be That's going to be negative cosine square root of x minus cosine of pi over 2. So that's negative cosine square root of x minus 0, negative cosine square root of x. Okay, and now we have to differentiate. Now, dy dx equals d dx negative cosine of x to the 1/2. Remember, we got to fix it. So that's going to be negative sine x to the 1/2 times the derivative of the inside, which is 1/2 x to the negative 1/2. So we get sine square root of x over 2 square root of x. Okay. Now we're going to do it the second way, b. We've got the integral. We're going to do d dx of the integral from 0 to the square root of x of sine t dt. So that's going to equal sine square root of x times the derivative of the square root of x. So that gives me sine x, remember this is x to the 1/2, times 1/2 x to the negative 1/2. So that's going to be sine x over 2 square root of x. Same answer, less work. See. Oh, no, example. Find dy dx for y equals the integral of the square root of x to pi over 3 cosine t squared dt. Okay, so the first thing is we're going to do dy dx. Actually, before we do that, we have to fix it. We have to flip-flop it because the number should be at the bottom. So y equals negative square root, integral of pi over 3 to square root of x of cosine t squared dt. Now we can do our dy dt equals d dx. d dx integral, I'll put the negative over here so I don't lose it. Pi over 3 square root of x cosine t squared dt. Okay. So that's going to give me negative cosine of the square root of x squared times the derivative of what I'm plugging in. Okay, so that's going to be negative cosine of x, because the square and the square root cancel, over 2x to the 1/2, or negative cosine x over 2 square root of x. All right. And that's the last example.